Shalom, Erev Tov, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. U.S. President Donald Trump announces he intends to travel to the Middle East to oversee a signing ceremony, including in Egypt. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio highlights President Trump's tough engagement with Mideastern leaders that brought about the necessary breakthrough vis-a-vis the Gaza Strip. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asserts the broader campaign has not yet concluded, urging Israeli citizens to remain vigilant. President Donald Trump's ceasefire agreement between Israel and the Islamist Hamas terror organization took effect earlier today at noon after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's cabinet officially approved the first phase of the plan last night to return all of the hostages. In an uncommon occurrence, President Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff and son-in-law Jared Kushner briefly joined the cabinet meeting last night ahead of the vote, during the course of which Prime Minister Netanyahu voiced Jerusalem's deep gratitude for President Trump, his envoys, and the unwavering commitment of the United States to its alliance with the State of Israel.
We're at a momentous development in the last 2 years. We fought during these 2 years to achieve our war aims, and a central one of these war aims is to return the hostages, all of the hostages, the living and the dead. And we're about to achieve that goal. We couldn't have achieved it without the extraordinary help of President Trump and his team, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. They worked tirelessly with Ron and his team, our team, and that and the courage of our soldiers who entered Gaza and the combined military and diplomatic pressure that isolated Hamas, I think, has brought us to this point. I want to personally thank both of you, Steve, Jared. It's been long hours.
Obviously, bringing the hostages home it's been a priority for President Trump for a very, very long time, and we've all worked very tirelessly to do that. But I really want to say that this all would not have been possible without the bravery of the IDF and the soldiers, what they've accomplished not just in Gaza, but also what they've done in the theater over the last couple of years to eliminate Hezbollah in the north and really degrade them. What you were able to do in Iran, it really helped set a big tone. But particularly seeing the way that your citizen army, I know a lot of you, probably all of you, have family, friends who were in this effort, really put your sacrifices on the line to fight for your country and to try to make a difference. I think that made a very, very big difference in there. And I want to just give a very, very special thanks to Prime Minister Netanyahu, who really did an incredible job with this and did a great job with the negotiations. You held your lines firm, and I think that between you and President Trump, you had a lot of alignment on what the end state should be.
And I'm not just saying that, they're not just words. The president believes that, my president believes it. He believes that Prime Minister Netanyahu made some very, very difficult calls, and lesser people would not have made those calls. And here we are today because Hamas had to, they had to do this deal. The pressure was on them, they were backed up, and you've got the bigger army, you were making inroads, and that's what led to this deal.
During a subsequent American cabinet meeting in Washington, U.S. President Donald Trump informed his secretaries of the great achievement, as part of which all of Israel's hostages, the living and the murdered, will be released by the Islamist Hamas early next week.
We secured the release of all of the remaining hostages, and they should be released on Monday or Tuesday. Getting them is a complicated process. I'd rather not tell you what they have to do to get them. They're in places you don't want to be, but we are getting the hostages back on Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, and that'll be a day of joy. I'm going to try and make a trip over. We're going to try and get over there, and we're working on the timing, the exact timing. We're going to go to Egypt, where we'll have a signing, an additional signing. We've already had a signing representing me, but we're going to have an official signing. And the amazing thing is all of the countries over there, from Qatar to Saudi Arabia to UAE to all of them, I mean, the rich ones, the less than rich ones, they've all come together, something which is amazing, actually. They've all come together for this, and they're really probably the best relationships they've ever had. So it's been really something incredible that nobody thought it was possible to get it done.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who was at the center of diplomatic discourse, seized the opportunity to highlight President Trump's crucial role in breaking through the barriers, which culminated in achieving the first phase of his plan.
One day, perhaps the entire story will be told about the events of yesterday, but suffice it to say, it's not an exaggeration that none of it would have been possible without the President of the United States being involved.
Secretary Rubio continued by specifying the turning point which brought about the long-awaited breakthrough.
Where it really took a turn about a month ago, less than a couple weeks ago, is when we were at the United Nations and you convened an historic meeting, not simply of Arab countries, but of Muslim-majority countries from around the world, including Indonesia was there, Pakistan was there, and created this coalition behind this plan. Then on that following Monday, you met with the Prime Minister of Israel here, and that plan was presented. And then, of course, our great negotiating team followed up on it. In the interim, again, perhaps the stories will be told, perhaps it will never be told. The President had some extraordinary phone calls and meetings that required a high degree of intensity and commitment, and made this happen.
It is worth noting that a number of state actors which have close ties to the Islamist Hamas have recently changed their tone towards the Palestinian terror group after President Donald Trump held a number of consecutive conversations with those state leaders, which Secretary Rubio referred to as extraordinary, with a high degree of intensity and commitment. Consequently, those referred to countries have opted to get proactively involved, including by ensuring the compliance of the Islamist Hamas to the first phase of the deal, which will allow for negotiations to ensue on the implementation mechanisms of President Trump's comprehensive outline. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made an address to the citizens of Israel earlier today, proclaiming enormous achievements in the war of redemption. Prime Minister Netanyahu continued by reiterating Israel's unyielding resolve to achieve its war objectives vis-à-vis the Islamist Hamas, emphasizing that if it is achieved the easy way, so be it. If not, it will be achieved the hard way.
חמאס הסכים לעסקה רק כשהרגיש שהחרב מונחת על צווארו, והיא עדיין על צווארו. החמאס הסכים לעסקה רק לאחר שתוכנית טראמפ, שעליה הסכמתי עם הנשיא בוושינגטון, בודדה אותו בינלאומית באופן חסר תקדים. אני ידעתי שאם ניכנס בעוצמה למעוז האחרון שנותר בידי החמאס, העיר עזה, ואם נשמיד בה את כל מרכזי הכוח שלו, החמאס ירצה להציל את שלטונו. אני גם חשבתי שאם נוסיף ללחץ הצבאי המסיבי שלנו, לחץ מדיני מסיבי של ידידנו הגדול הנשיא טראמפ, השילוב העוצמתי הזה יגרום לחמאס להשיב את כל חטופינו, כשצה"ל נשאר עמוק בתוך הרצועה ומחזיק בכל הנקודות השולטות בה. וזה מה שקורה. בדרך הזו אנחנו לופתים את החמאס, אנחנו לופתים אותו מכל עבר, לקראת השלבים הבאים של התוכנית, שבהם החמאס יפורק מנשקו ועזה תפורז. אם הדבר הזה יושג בדרך הקלה, מה טוב, ואם לא, הוא יושג בדרך הקשה.
The Israeli leader went on to thank the Israel Defense Forces for their unrelenting commitment to achieve Israel's war objectives, while further stressing to the citizens of Israel that while the conflict in Gaza may come to a close, the broader campaign is not yet over and that great challenges lay ahead.
בזכות יכולת העמידה והלכידות שלכם, אזרחי ישראל, עמדנו במבחנים קשים. השגנו ניצחונות כבירים, ניצחונות שמשנים את פני המזרח התיכון. אבל כפי שאמר הרמטכ"ל, המערכה עדיין לא הסתיימה. עדיין ניצבים לפנינו אתגרים גדולים, אבל גם הזדמנויות גדולות. יחד נעמוד באתגרים, יחד נממש את ההזדמנויות, יחד נשלים את משימותינו, ויחד נרחיב את מעגל השלום סביבנו.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. If you're blessed by our updates, which are exclusively donation-based, please take this opportunity to support TV7 Israel with a donation. You can do so via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. I would like also to encourage you to keep praying for the hostages in Gaza until the moment they return, and also after that. Pray also for the Christians and Druze in southern Syria currently facing a siege by the Damascus regime in their own governorate of Seuraa, and pray also for the Christian community in Nigeria faced with atrocities by the Al-Shabaab terror group, Al-Qaeda or Daesh affiliate, currently operating against Christians in that country. And last but not least, pray for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hessen, wishing you a Chag Sukkot Sameach v'Shabbat Shalom, and God willing, we will see you until our next update. Shalom from Jerusalem.